Good afternoon. How is everybody? Okay. They are going to record our session today. I just wanted to let everybody know. They can't, I don't believe they can see you guys down here, so. But my name is Vanessa. I'm the election supervisor. I just want to go over a few things with you guys. Got a pay increase. So now you'll be making $220 for election day. John Ackerman and a few of the other county clerks all went together and went through the state board and got another pay increase. Has anybody gotten a phone call from the election integrity group? Nobody? They may call you. They are a legitimate group. I think they're having a luncheon on Saturday maybe, so they are in a legitimate group. The A-frame signs that you sit outside your polling centers, they are now we're going to change the outside of them. They will now have our office number down at the bottom so that if somebody that needs assistance, curbside assistance, they will call our office and then we will reach out to you as election judges and we will let you know that they're out there. And at that point in time, when you get time, you go out and help them and get them voted, okay? Let's see, tabulators. We've had a few issues last couple elections of the tabulators being left at the polling places. They need to come back to the counting center. And we know it's kind of different because those are there when you guys get there to the polling place. But they do need to come back to the counting center. They are what holds the election information that we count so we can put out results. So what we've decided to do is on your blue bags, when you get them, there's the card in front that tells you what precinct you are. If your blue bag has a red line underneath it, when your coordinating judge comes to pick it up, whoever that coordinating judge is, they need to make sure that that blue bag is in a trunk and coming to the counting center. That coordinating judge does not necessarily need to come back with it, but that is going to be their responsibility to make sure that that is going to be transported to the counting center. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, calling the office. As election judges, you call our office. Please do not leave a message. Just hang up and call again. When our phones are ringing like that, I don't necessarily have time to stop and check the machine. So sometimes it takes me a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour to get to those messages. So if you could, just keep calling back until you get to talk to somebody, okay? Any questions on that? All right, this is Anna. She is from Liberty Systems. They are our election provider. They are a vendor, and she's going to be putting on the presentation for you today. Okay?
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good to see you guys. Today we're just going to be going through your election day from start to finish, something that you guys have sat through before, but just a little refresher before the March primary election. I will tell you guys that something that I want you to be aware of is I know Vanessa had mentioned that the tabulator is important to come back. We're going to be referencing that several times throughout the presentation. So with that being said, and with any other things that come up, if you do have questions throughout, please feel free to raise your hand and I will answer it. I'm going to try to repeat the question before I answer it, and that way everyone can hear, and then we'll move on from that. The March election is the 19th, which is a little bit later in the month, so please mark your calendars for that. And please make sure that you leave your sign-in sheets with Dee before you leave today. And if everyone could please place their phones on vibrate, I would love that. Appreciate it. And always, like I said, ask questions. So early voting begins on February 8th, and it ends the day before the election, which is March 18th. And what is your job as election judges? Well, first of all, I forgot to ask, is anyone brand new, has never worked as a judge before? Okay, this is our first class where we have all veterans, so thank you for coming back. Your job is to protect the rights of voters, to ensure the election process is fair in accordance with election laws. So we're going to go through some guidelines here in a bit. So before the polls open, we all know it's a very early morning. I'm right up there with you, but I do need you to be at your polling place no later than 5 a.m. And if you are missing any judges, please make sure that you contact the clerk's office right away so they can get someone to replace that judge. They may have to shuffle people around from polling place to polling place. And also, they do provide you with a supply checklist. This gives the contents of what is in your kit bags, what's in every bag, as well as your ballots, sample ballots, ballot applications, and so on. This small blue bag, which is on the right-hand corner here, the table with the flag, that has all your extra power cords, power strips, tape, extra paper rolls, and your flags in it. So you will need that first thing in the morning before you start setup. And in your large blue bag, which is your kit bag, the following items are in the bag, and we'll kind of go through those as well. The first thing is your precinct envelope. If you are in a polling place with multiple precincts, each precinct will get their own precinct envelope. But one of the first things that we need you to pull out of that envelope in the morning is your judge's oath and expense sheet, and we'll go over that in just a second. In your green bag is your during voting supplies, your spoiled ballot envelopes, your ballot privacy covers. And then your red bag is, you will get one of those per polling place, not per precinct. Because inside your red bag is your signs that you hang up around the polling place. And also there is your quick reference guides on how to open and close the equipment. In the blue bag, you will also find an affidavit binder, which we will go through a couple affidavits coming up here, the ones that you use throughout the day the most. And we give you a supply bag with all your goodies in it, like your I voted stickers, your pens, tape, and scissors. And then we do give you red and black pens, but just remember the red pens we want you to use to initial the ballots before you hand them out to the voters. And also, if someone votes on the touchscreen, we need you to initial the back of that touchscreen ballot before they feed it into the tabulator. Remember, as election judges, you make the call. You serve as officers of the circuit court. You are the sole authority in the polling place and in the campaign-free zone, and you are responsible for proper conduct of the election. And like I said, first thing in the morning when you guys get there, first thing I want you to get out, please administer the oath of office. Everyone needs to read through it, and please sign. Something that has become very prominent in the last few years is you guys have seen more and more of poll watchers come into your polling places. So we just want to go over a couple guidelines and rules to those. Candidates can be poll watchers. They also need to be registered voters in Illinois. They will obtain credentials from either the State Board of Elections or the county clerk's office. And they are appointed by either a candidate, a political party, a civic or state civic organization, or they may be a proponent or opponent to a proposition. And if you, again, have multiple precincts in your polling place, they need to present each precinct with their own separate credentials. What rights do the poll watchers have? They're there to observe all the proceedings and records relating to the conduct of the election. They may come and go throughout the day if they wish. They may call attention to incorrect procedures. They may challenge qualifications of voters, but the secrecy of the ballot must be maintained at all times, which means as soon as you hand a voter a ballot and they proceed to the voting booths, the poll watchers are not to interfere with the voting process at all. Even when they get done and come over to the tabulator, they are not to interfere with that process at all. Here's what your poll watcher register envelope looks like. It's a 9x12. In the picture it does show white, but it is a craft colored envelope. So when you do collect those credentials, please have the person sign their name, state what organization they're associated with, and they're actually going to put the time that they are arriving and the time that they leave. Who else may be in the polling place on election day? Law enforcement officials, representatives from the State Board of Elections, State's Attorney or Attorney General's office, and of course anyone from the Tazewell County Clerk's office. Now we're going to go through how to open both sets of equipment, the tabulator and the touchscreen. Again, we give you these great quick reference guides in your red bag, so I encourage you to get those out in the morning so they're ready to go when you're setting up your equipment. The first thing we want you to do before you attach the tabulator onto the ballot box, you can open up the blue rollaway bag that houses your tabulator, and inside of that you will find an envelope which has your passwords and your keys inside. Please get your keys out, get the blue key out, and there are 2 locks in the back of the ballot box. Please unlock both of those, look inside of both of those areas, and make sure there's no ballots left over from the previous election. I know it sounds silly, but it can happen, so that's what we want to do first and foremost. And after that, you want to make sure that the top of the ballot box is attached to the main ballot box, and by doing so, you will find these red tug-tight seals that are inside your supply bag. You will actually attach the top of the ballot box to the bottom. It's just a zip tie, and make sure that it is latched on there. Some of your ballot boxes may already have a red tug tie on there, and that's fine, it can stay on there. Next, you will slide the tabulator onto the ballot box, lock it into place again with your blue key, plug in the power source, and flip the switch. While it's powering on, you can move the screen from the shipping position upright. And the power on process for the tabulator takes about 3 minutes. The first screen that pops up on the tabulator is the election password screen. So enter in that password and you're going to hit enter. And then the first thing that will print off from the tabulator is your machine info report. All we want you to do for that report is please verify that the date and time are correct. And then the next thing that prints off automatically is your 0 report. That just shows that there are no votes on that tabulator before we start open proceedings for election day. And there are lines on the bottom of those 0 count tapes, and I need you to sign them. And I have a little rhyme. If you see a line, sign, okay? So you're going to have several reports that will print out of the machines throughout the day, but if you see a line, everyone needs to sign. Next, now the optical scan is ready for voting. It says please insert paper ballot, so you're all set up and ready to go. The next thing we're going to go through is the touchscreen. The touchscreen is on the tabletop right there. We really encourage you guys to set those up on a table that faces the wall or a corner. Please have a folding chair near or available to anyone that wants to use the touchscreen. And please make sure that there is enough room behind there if someone comes in with a wheelchair that they can get behind there, excuse me. You'll plug the cord into the back of the touchscreen and flip the switch. And while that is powering on, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. While that's powering on, get your screen set up and into the lock position. And also get out your keypad and your headphones. The first screen that you're going to see, it's going to say today is election day, yes or no. So that's an easy question, right? So you're going to hit yes. And it's going to automatically print your open report. There's lines, so you sign, okay? Set that aside with your other tapes. It's going to ask you if you want to print another report. You just need one of those off the touchscreen, okay? So you're going to hit no. And now the touchscreen is ready for voting. So what did we do? We plugged in the touchscreen, took the lid off, flipped the switch, set the screen up, and got the keypad and headphones out. We answered, yes, it's election day. We printed an open report, and then we hit no, and it's ready to go. Simple as that. Again, please utilize those quick reference guides with the pictures on it. It'll make setup for you guys very easy. Now, we're going to kind of jump to how to vote on the touchscreen. So each precinct is given a set of barcodes, and those barcodes will list the precinct on it as well as the ballot styles. So I'm sure you're used to having multiple ballot styles, and then you will always find that ballot style on the voter's ballot application, right? So make sure if someone wants to use the touchscreen that you are scanning the proper barcode that is associated with that voter and the precinct they're in and their ballot style. So as soon as you scan the barcode, it's going to pop up with the precinct and ballot style. So that's another double check for you to make sure it is the correct one. You will hit the start button and then give the voter some instructions or answer any questions that they have at that time, and then walk away and let them start the voting process. On the touchscreen, the great thing about it is it will not let you overvote. So if it says vote for one and you press one candidate, the rest of the candidates will get grayed out. If they change their mind and want to vote for another candidate, they will deselect that person and select someone else. If there is a write-in candidate available for that particular contest, they will click on the write-in, which is at the very bottom. It will then prompt you to type in the write-in candidate's name, and you'll hit enter. See where the write-in candidate's name is now visible, and it says write-in there? So that is an option. You have to get through the entire ballot in order for you to be able to print it. You can get from page to page by either using the arrows at the bottom from left to right, or you can scan back and forth just like a smartphone or a tablet by swiping left to right. As soon as you've gotten through, yes, sir.
I just have a question about the write-in. Oh, did somebody else?
No, it's okay, go ahead.
Oh, the write-in. Since we get a list of multiple write-ins, will it let them put in somebody that's not on that list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That just means, that's a good question. She said if it's on the write-in sheet, but someone else puts someone else's name, like we always get, what, a Mickey Mouse or a Scooby-Doo or something, right? They can type whatever they want in. Doesn't mean you're going to count it at the end of the night. Yep. Yes, sir. Okay. Good question. Okay. So once you get all the way through the touchscreen ballot, the done button will appear at the bottom. And then it's going to take you to your ballot review page, which is super helpful because this is giving you like your second chance to look through that touchscreen ballot to see if you want to make any changes. If you forgot to vote for a particular contest, you can go back and do it at this time. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and as soon as you get to the bottom, a print button will appear. You will hit print. It will print your ballot for you, and then you will have the voter feed the ballot into that tabulator. So the touchscreen prints off a ballot, and it will be fed into the tabulator. And this is what the touchscreen ballot looks like. Okay?
All right, and then they bring that to a judge to initial it?
So they will bring it over to the ballot box judge. Before the voter feeds it into the tabulator, you will ask the voter to please turn it backwards. You guys will initial the back in red, and then the voter will feed it into the tabulator in between these two red arrows. Yep. just like that. Okay, now going back to the setup process, please set up all your roadway signs, your polling place entrance signs, and arrange the booths for privacy and for an orderly flow at your polling place. And you'll post other specimen ballots and signs throughout, as well as posting helpful posters that we provide to you guys in the voting booths themselves. Know your different ballot styles. They are designated by code, color, and number. So make sure the voter is given the correct ballot sheet. Again, I'm repeating myself, but the ballot style will be listed on that voter's application. Make sure you're handing them the correct ballot. Compare each ballot style to each specimen ballot. So when you get ready to open up your ballots in the morning, they come in that white box with the white handle. You'll open them up, and inside you will find folded specimen ballots that are on colored paper. So make sure those specimen ballots, whatever ballot style it says, matches the ballots that are in that box. As soon as you have accounted for all the ballots that are listed on the certificate of inspection for the ballot styles and the quantities, then you guys will sign the certificate of inspection and set it to the side. Next, we would like for you to get out your statement of ballots. The only thing that you're going to fill out in the morning is the date of the election, the precinct name and number, and the number of ballots that you received, and then set that aside because we'll finish filling it out at the end after the polls close. If you do, yes.
Can we go back a minute on the specimen ballots? Do you need to post those in the room someplace?
Yes, please. You can either, since we give you Scotch tape, you can either post them on the wall somewhere if you have room, or just lay them out on a table somewhere. We give you several copies of those, so one copy of each would be fine, even if you want to set them up in a couple different locations in the polling place. Yep. That's just if someone wants to check out who's on the ballot before they get in line, they are welcome to. If your precinct has write-in candidates, you will be provided with a write-in candidate list. The only thing that you're required to do is get the write-in list out, set it on a table where it's visible to voters. If they ask you if there's any write-in candidates, you can tell them where that list is, and then that's where you stop. You don't need to promote it in any other way. If someone asks you where the write-in candidate list is, you can direct them to that. Precincts?
One list?
I don't know about that. I would say you would probably be given one list per precinct if I had to guess. Yeah. You can even post it on the front door if you want, like whatever's visible to the voter is fine. So the campaign-free zone, make sure that you are not allowing anyone with campaign buttons, t-shirts, hats, any literature, anything on their car is not allowed. The only way that they could is if they were outside of that 100 horizontal feet, okay? So it has to be 100 feet from the entrance of your polling place. Beyond that, they can post their political signs and all that. But I will tell you, if it is a church or a private school, they have the right to tell you that they don't want or allow any political signs on their property. And if that's so, then that just makes your lives that much easier. During voting, what do you do first? So at 6 a.m., you guys are ready to rock and roll. Everything is hung. The machines are up and ready to go. I need one of you to go outside and announce in a loud, clear voice that the polls are now open. I'm sure you all do this, right? Yes. Unlock the doors. Hopefully you've replaced any missing judges at that point. And then if you have any poll watchers, you'll collect those credentials at that time. Please remember that the clerk's office will provide you guys with a list of anyone that has voted early, grace period, or vote by mail. So please keep that handy when you go to check voters in, because you will need to reference that list several times throughout the day. Voters may be challenged from time to time, and we will go over this. They can be challenged by a poll watcher, an election judge, or by another voter. And some reasons that a voter may be challenged are no record of the registration, not the same person as registered voter, if the voter has moved, if they have already voted, if they're on your list of people that have already voted, or if their name has changed. If their name has changed, a name change affidavit is required. Any person that changes their name but still resides in the same precinct and is otherwise qualified may vote after filling out the affidavit. I'm sure this doesn't happen too often, but I did also want to tell you guys, the salmon color affidavits that you guys normally use all the time are now bright construction orange. So they're very easy. It matches some of your shirts in here. Beautiful. So one of the first things, the second thing on the list is having to do with the name change. So if that takes place, please have them fill out the orange affidavit, attach it to their ballot application, and then they can vote at the polling place if they reside in the same one. And these are a list of the other affidavits that are inside the binder here. Election judges, friendly reminder, make sure that you guys are rotating positions throughout the day. As much as you may not want to, please do so. And one of the main reasons why is because if we have brand new judges that are working with you guys at a polling place, they have no experience at all. So we really want them to experience every station and every process throughout the day. So please make sure that you are making that available to them. You guys act as a board and always the majority rules, and everyone has equal authority in the polling place. So, what if, and these are just things that have come up in the past, what if a voter's registration cannot be found, a voter is challenged by a poll watcher, a voter insists that he or she is eligible to vote, or if the voter applied for a registration at the driver's license facility or online, but the clerk's office never received it, please call the clerk's office and they will give you further instructions on how to process those voters. People who are eligible for voter assistance is voters with disabilities and voters that cannot read or write the English language. And of course, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but if you have anyone that's intoxicated, you are not allowed to assist them. Assisting voters with disabilities, please remember to ask, listen, talk naturally, be sensitive, show dignity, speak directly to them, offer assistance, but do not take over. If you need to assist someone, please fill out the green affidavit, which is of course in the binder. Okay? It needs to be signed by the voter and by those assisting, and then also it will get spindled with the ballot application. The orange affidavit also is required if you are assisting someone, so please fill out both of those affidavits and spindle with the application. Assistance can be given by a friend or relative or 2 election judges, 1 of each party. Voters should not be offered assistance without filling out the voter-assisted affidavit. People who cannot give assistance is the voter's employer, the agent of the voter's employer, an officer of the voter's union, or agent of the voter's union. Now we're going to kind of go through the stations and see what all is set up in each station. One thing that you do need to set aside and have readily available to you is we give you the V-pads that are the tablets. Please make sure that those are turned on and ready to go. There is a charger in each one of those boxes as well. And underneath the tablet, you will find these voter registration application to vote forms. Each polling place, if someone comes in and needs to register to vote, you guys have these forms to register that person. But my suggestion is before you go through and fill out this form, make sure that they are in the correct polling place. So get out the V-pad. You can search their address, and it will actually tell you the districts they vote in, the polling place, so make sure that they're the right polling place, and it lists the ballot style that you need to give them. If they're in the correct polling place, then you can proceed. We really want you guys to fill out these registration applications, and then the white copy goes in the orange bag. The yellow copy gets spindled as a ballot application and numbered, and then the pink copy serves as a receipt to the voter. It is a 3-part form. Yes, ma'am.
And there was sounds silly, but I missed it before. It says it on the bottom right of the registration.
It does. It does. She said it does state on the bottom of those forms which copy goes where, and that is correct. Yeah, we don't expect you guys to memorize that stuff. Here,
Back to assisting someone, if it's husband and wife and they're helping each other, they don't have to fill out a form, do they?
yes, they do. Yep. When you go into a polling place, if you're with your husband or wife, that's great. But when you go and you are handed a ballot, that is your ballot. And then that is your husband's ballot. You guys are going into separate voting booths and you're voting your ballots by yourselves. It's not a,
What if they stay in the same booth?
they're not supposed to. That's your job to separate them. If they need assistance, then they need to be filling out those affidavits. Okay? I know that's sometimes not a fun conversation to have. I've had it before myself, but you just have to do it. You are an individual voter. I'm not going to go through all these, but these are some acceptable forms of ID. When you are registering someone to vote, they need 2 forms of ID, one with their current address on it. Again, we want you guys to be filling out those forms. Please fill them out neatly so we can read them when they get back to the clerk's office the next day and the girls are processing them. They can easily read them and get those people inputted into the voter registration system. The V-pads do come with instructions, so if you don't know how to operate them, it will tell you how to look up someone either by their name or their address. Judges, Station 1, greeter judge. You will set up your Start Here sign, your list of voters, people who have voted early and vote by mail, your precinct mapped, your polling place list, and this is where you'll verify registrations. See this orange box? It's also on the table right there in front of you guys. This is the box that if someone comes into your polling place and has requested a vote by mail ballot and they have filled it out and they want to turn it into you guys so you can take it back to the clerk's office, this is the box that you guys will put it in. However, it needs to be put inside this certification envelope. They should be bringing it with the ballot. Please make sure that the voter has signed and dated the back of it. This has to be done in order for it to be counted. If they have forgotten their certificate ballot envelope, they do provide you with extras. So please have them put their ballot inside and sign and date it. If you don't have any ballots that are put in the orange box by the end of the day, no need to seal it, just bring it back. But if you do, please use the red and white seals. Everyone sign it and return it to the clerk's office. Station 1 is also, you need to offer voter instructions on demonstrator ballot sheets, announce the voter's name, and verify that the voter has not already voted by checking that list. Remember, as we've already discussed, registration is available at each polling place, so please make sure that if someone comes in and needs to register, that you guys can accommodate. Station 2, the voter will come up to your station. You will ask them, please state your name and your address. Make them tell you. And since it's a primary election, you will also ask them which party ballot they would like, a Democrat, Republican. And if the county has a referenda or a proposition on the ballot, they can request a nonpartisan ballot. But just so you know, that is the only thing on that ballot. If they request a nonpartisan, it's just going to be the proposition or the referenda. It's not going to have Democrat and Republicans all on the same ballot. And I think that's what a lot of people think. That's why a lot of people don't like to vote in a primary, because they don't want to declare that party. Have them complete the application by choosing their party ballot and signing it. Confirm that they have signed it and pass it to the verification judges. This is just a sample of what a ballot application looks like. Where you guys need to initial is in the lower left-hand corner. Number consecutively, and give the voter a receipt if they wish to have one. If it says ID required on their ballot application, this means that the voter registered to vote, but they failed to provide a signature when they registered. So this is one of the few instances where you can actually ask for an ID, verify that the name and address matches, have the voter sign their ballot application, and then they can proceed down the line and receive a ballot. That way, when we get the ballot applications back, we can scan that signature in, and then their registration is complete. We do give you guys Post-its, so that's a good spot where you want to mark that ballot application with a Post-it so it alerts them to look at it. Station 2 and 3 is the verification judges. We always need a Democrat and Republican sitting at those stations at all times. You're going to locate the voter's verification record, so you're going to make sure the signature that they signed today matches the signature that we have on file, and determine the correct ballot style, which is on their application, and initial the application and return it to the voter. And remember, like I said, a Democrat and Republican need to be at that station. At Station 3, you will have your affidavit binder there, if an affidavit needs to be filled out at the time. And then Station 4 is the ballot distribution judge. They are going to check applications for judges' initials and ballot styles, spindle the application by party, and number consecutively on each spindle. And then they will determine the correct ballot style or set up the touchscreen for the voter. And please, again, make sure you're initialing those ballots in red with red pen. Yes?
You had said that when it says ID required, that's one of the few times at the verification table, if the signature does not match, we can ask for ID at that point. can't we?
Yes. She asked if the signature does not match at the signature verification table, are you allowed to ask for ID? I would say yes, you are allowed to ask. That's one of the few instances. Because a good example is if I registered when I was 18 and I'm now 62, my signature probably isn't going to be the same, right? So in the meantime, ask for their ID, make sure they are who they are saying that they are, mark it with a Post-it again, and then that way they can capture that new signature when they go. You can even write a little note on it. Please record new signature. Thank you. At this station, you will also direct the voters to the voting booths. You will have your spoiled ballot supplies and provisional supplies, which we'll go over in just a little bit. For the touchscreen, if someone requests to use the touchscreen, remember, anyone can use it, even you guys, it doesn't matter. Please escort the voter to the touchscreen, scan the correct QR code associated with their ballot style and precinct, ask if they have any questions, press start, and let them start voting on the touchscreen. Please offer every voter, when you're handing them a ballot or getting them set up on the touchscreen, a ballot privacy cover. They do not have to take it. It is not required, but we always like to offer it. Spoiled ballots. Sometimes you have spoiled ballots. The voter should request a new ballot, and sometimes if it's spoiled, that means that maybe they have overvoted or maybe they marked a wrong candidate. Not a problem, happens all the time. Spoil the ballot, put it in a spoiled ballot envelope, and issue them a new ballot. If someone does request a new ballot, please go back to that person's ballot application, and there is a box at the bottom. Please check mark it spoiled ballot. Yes, sir.
I don't have all of these slides.
Right. No. The girls decided just to print off the most important slides for you guys to kind of keep and reference later on, so that's why. You're good.
If you spoil the ballot, does the number on the original ballot go on the replacement ballot? The ballot number, you number the ballots,
You don't number the ballots.
number in the book, and you initial in the ballot.
Yep, you're good. It's okay. Ballot application, you number. The official ballot, you just initial. You're good.
Thank you.
Okay. This is what the spoiled ballot looks like. It is the top envelope, and you will place the spoiled ballot inside, and then obviously put it in the defective and spoiled ballot envelope. Tracking your numbers, something that is so important to do throughout the day, every hour or 2 hours. The number of spindled ballot applications you have, you need to add them up. And if they add up to 54, it should read 54 on that tabulator, right? Tracking those every hour or 2 hours is going to save you guys a lot of headache. If you wait till 7 o'clock to look at your numbers for the first time and you're 2 off, and you have like 500 applications, guess what? You have to go through all those applications because 9 times out of 10, you've probably misnumbered them. And I know it's happened to everyone. So please make sure we're tracking those numbers at least every hour or 2 hours. And Station 5 is your ballot box judge. No one should interfere with the voter. The voter is the one that will feed their ballots into the tabulator, not you. Make sure that they have a ballot privacy cover. Obviously, they're not feeding that ballot privacy cover into the tabulator, just the ballot. And make sure that the judge's initials are on the ballot. Just have them scooch their ballot up just a little bit so you can see those initials are there. And then you'll initial the back of that touchscreen ballot, which I know we had talked about before. Now we're going to talk about if you have a power outage for some reason, or if you've had the tabulator is throwing an error of some kind and it's unable to operate, voting never stops. So in the back of that ballot box, there is, I call a little mail slot. People continue to vote. They will put those ballots into that mail slot, okay? So at the end of the day, after the polls close at 7, before you shut down that tabulator, a Democrat and Republican judge are going to open up that mail slot, retrieve those ballots, and then the two of you will feed them into the tabulator. And then, as soon as your numbers match up, then you can close your polls. Now we're going to talk about undervoting and overvoting. So, if someone has overvoted, and it says vote for one, if someone says overvoted, I'm going to show you what the screen looks like. If it says undervoted or overvoted, as soon as you feed your ballot into the tabulator and it kicks it back, it will list on the screen if you've overvoted what race, undervoted what race. So, if you've undervoted, the only reason it will kick back is if it's a federal race. So, you can alert them to this, but I will tell you 9 times out of 10, a lot of people leave several contests blank on their ballot, which is totally fine. I do it myself. So if they are fine with their choices, all you will hit is the accept ballot check mark, have them refeed it into the ballot box, and then it will count the contest that they did vote for, okay? If they overvoted on something, they have 2 options. They can spoil the ballot and go and be issued another one and go into the voting booth and re-vote. Or if they don't have time, if they're on their lunch break and they need to get going, they can accept the ballot, refeed it into the tabulator, and everything that you voted for that wasn't overvoted will be counted. Okay, curbside voting. I know it doesn't happen all the time, but they are supposed to call the clerk's office before they come to the polling place to do curbside voting, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So, but if you do know that you have a curbside voter, if you get a call from the clerk's office, this is what you need to do. So 2 judges, 1 from each party, will walk out to the car and get the voter's name and address, come back in, and you guys will get their ballot application, the correct ballot, a ballot privacy cover, a pen, and an I voted sticker. And the 2 of you will go back out to the car and do the procedure just like if they were inside. Have them fill out, have them sign and their ballot application. You guys will verify the signature. If it matches, then hand them their ballot privacy cover, and their pen, and let them vote in their vehicle. When they are done, you'll take everything back, give them their I voted sticker, and then the two of you will come back into the polling place, and the two of you will feed it into the tabulator. Now, I will say, if the voter at curbside has overvoted or undervoted and it gets kicked back, you will click the accept ballot box and feed it into the tabulator as is. Okay? All right. Nowadays, with same-day registration and all the opportunities that you have to update your address, there's really no real reason to do provisional voting anymore. So we're really not going to be focusing on that today. But I do want to tell you, if you think you need to vote someone provisional for any reason, please call the clerk's office first, tell them the situation, and they will tell you how to proceed, or if you do need to vote someone provisional. Okay, it's 6:30. We're almost ready to go. We're ready. So you're going to announce that the polls will close in a half an hour. And please remember, if you haven't, you guys need to vote if you haven't. But we do encourage you guys to please vote early before Election Day. In case the day gets away from you, we don't want you to miss that opportunity. So at 7 o'clock, you're going to announce that the polls are closed. I would suggest that you have one judge go lock the door, another judge stand in the back of the line, and they are indicating that I am the last voter. So if you do have anyone sneak in behind you, it's past 7 o'clock. Unfortunately, they are not allowed to vote. After they have locked the doors, you can move away from the line, finish processing your voters, and obviously someone's going to stand at the door to let them out, and they can lock it. We're going to start removing your polling place signs, and then we're going to kind of go after the polls close procedures. The same people are allowed to stay in the polling place after the polls close as we're allowed to be in the polling place before they opened. So first, we're going to shut down the touchscreen. This procedure has changed a little bit, so I do need you to make note of this, but I'm going to make your lives easier, I promise. So Tazewell County will no longer be giving you guys orange barcodes to close the machine, which is fine. So what you're going to do is, when you're ready to close voting, you're going to hit the manual entry button and type in the password, same password that you use for the tabulator. Then you're going to hit the admin button, which is in the upper right-hand corner. And then you're going to hit close voting twice. And it's going to ask you, do you want to close voting? Are you sure you want to close voting? You're like, absolutely. And it's going to print a close report. You just need one of those. Sign it and set it aside with the rest of your tapes. Do you want to print another one? You can say no. So this is a new screen. So I'm going to bring it up here on the PowerPoint. This is the new screen that pops up. And it reads, please read it. To power off, turn off the switch on the back of the unit. This will also turn off the tablet. So you know the pen tool that you guys used to use? You don't have to use that anymore. You won't even have it on your keychain anymore, okay? So we just closed voting. After that, we flipped the switch in the back. It turned off the tablet and the machine, and you're done. So after that, you can return the screen to the shipping position and also return the keypad and the headphones to the back. You will place the lid on the top and lock it into place, and that is good to go and ready to go back to the counting center. Next, we want you to check that mail slot, that auxiliary bin, to make sure there's no ballots inside. And if there aren't, then you will go to the tabulator, I would one more time track your numbers to make sure you're matching. And the next thing you're going to do is press the hidden button in the lower left-hand corner. It does not say the word hidden button, right? Okay. So then you will type in your election password screen and you'll hit enter. You'll hit close voting. And it's going to ask you again 2 times, do you want to close voting? Are you sure you want to close voting? You'll hit yes. It will process the election summary tapes and it will print those off. Of course, you're going to want to print at least 2 copies of those off. If anyone wants a copy of those in the polling place, you're welcome to it. It's public information. The next screen that pops up is your write-in screen. It's going to ask you if you want to print a write-in report. You're going to hit yes. Even if you don't have any write-in candidates, if you could please at least print one of those reports. That way we know that you didn't have any write-in tallies available. And then if you don't need any more copies, you will hit continue. You'll hit the shutdown button, which is in the middle in green. Wait for the screen to go black, and then flip the switch in the back to power off the machine. Unplug the cord from the machine. Put the screen back into the shipping position. Unlock the tabulator from the ballot box and put it back into your blue bag. Next thing we want you to do is please retrieve all the ballots from the ballot box and get out that orange bag, because that's our end of the night bag. The good thing is about it is everything that they want you to put in that orange bag, every form and envelope has an orange sticker on it already. The only thing that's not going to have an orange sticker on it already are the tapes, but please know whatever tapes you printed off in the morning or at night, everyone signs them, and please put them in the orange bag. Next thing you'll do is get your statement of ballots back out, and you're going to finish filling it out. It's going to ask you how many unused ballots do you have left? How many ballot applications did you process? How many provisional ballots? Do you have any spoiled ballots? Please answer all 9 of those questions, and then everyone signs that report. And then you'll get that write-in sheet that was provided to you. If you do have write-ins, please get those tapes out at that time and start processing the write-ins. Determine the voter's intent, name printed or written, and the oval must be darkened. So on that write-in tape, not only do they have to have a valid write-in name, but they also would have had to have filled out the oval on the ballot as well. So you will fill out your write-in tally sheet with the candidate's name and how many votes that they received. If you do not have any write-in candidates, or if you had no votes cast for write-in candidates, please write none across the write-in tally sheet. That way we know that you didn't skip that step and we can proceed. These are the things that we need you to return at the end of the night. I understand you guys are tired, you want to go home, you're over it, but if you could please make sure that these things get back to the counting center, that would be great. So your blue luggage bag with your tabulator, to me, is the most important thing. Your touchscreen, all your ballots, used and unused, and your tapes, your write-in tally sheets, all of your spindled ballot applications, your statement of ballot forms, and your tabulated votes. You also need to pack your V-pad and any provisional ballots you have. They even give you a laminated checkoff list, so as you're loading them into the vehicle, please make sure you're accounting for all of these items. And that orange box. If you have anyone that's returned their ballot to you guys, please put that in there as well. Even if it's empty, we just need it back. The small blue supply bag that houses your power cords and flags, that can actually stay at the polling place. And then please make sure everyone has filled out their expense sheets so we can start processing payroll. We like to start that process right away, so make sure everyone has filled that out completely. So when you're getting ready to pack up, 2 judges, 1 from each party, need to ride in the same vehicle to the counting center. Please don't throw anything away, nothing election related. And if you are scheduled to work coming up in March and you have an emergency that comes up, I do know that happens sometimes and I understand, but please make sure that you're called the office immediately so they can replace you. Do you guys have any questions? Yes.
When they have 2 precincts in one building, and it's time to go take your items back, can one Democrat and one Republican go, or does that have to be one from each?
It can be 1 from, it doesn't need to be 4, Vanessa, right? It can just be 1 from each. If they have a multi-precinct polling place, it just needs to be 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. It doesn't matter what precinct they come from.
It has to be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat from each precinct.
From each precinct, okay. So 4. You know, if you have 2 precincts, that's 4 people. Good question, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Really? Yes. The touchscreen? You're just closing voting, you're just closing the machine down. It doesn't tabulate anything, but we still need to close it down for you guys to bring it back to the polling place, to the counting center. It's going to print off a close report, but you're just going to put that with the rest of your tapes. Yes.
Campaign signs cannot be within so many feet, but what if a voter comes in with a candidate name on their shirt?
So she says, what if a voter comes in with a candidate's name on their shirt? That's a good question. They aren't allowed to. So if it were me, they have to be outside of that 100 feet from the entrance of the polling place to do any campaigning. So I've had that happen to me before, so what I would suggest is please go up to the voter nice and say, I'm sorry, we don't allow anything political inside the polling place. The restrooms down the hall, if you can put your shirt inside out, that would be great. If they say no, then you say, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave then. And if they still say no, then call the clerk's office and we may have to have them escorted out. Hopefully it doesn't go that far though. Any other questions? Okay. You guys have been great. I'm already done. You're free to go. Thank you very much.